What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Demon Vampire album review. So, it's been a while since we done one of these reviews, but you know, I do it the best, and I give you the best fucking albums. So, today, a band that we haven't talked about much on this channel, Carnifex. So, today we'll be reviewing their new spectacle of album, World War X. Sorry about the flash here. I finally acquired it. Just take a little look at it. Bam. Oh yeah. I know it's beautiful, ain't it? So, before we get into this album right here, this masterpiece, we gotta do the rundown, and I don't like to get anything wrong, so I like to write all my notes down and shit like that. So, handy dandy notebook. So let's do it. So, Carnifex is an American deathcore band formed in San Diego County, California. Formed in 2005, they're currently signed to Nuclear Blast, one of the heavyweight metal record labels. They currently have 7 studio albums and 3 EPs. So, Carnifex is one of those deathcore bands that you just can't get enough of. They always been like, they started off as just every other deathcore band, just trying to find their craft, trying to find a way in the scene. And a lot of people say deathcore is dead, and I think it is to a certain extent, but people always say like Suicide Silence is like the go-to like deathcore band. Like, fuck that. I think Carnifex is the best, and I think these guys really can call themselves one of the like innovators of this genre, along with a few other bands. Despised Icon, that's another good one, Whitechapel, and all these other bands, these newer deathcore bands, Oceano, Spite, fucking Shadow of Intent. These are all bands who over the years have progressed, no matter what era of deathcore. But uh yeah, these guys have stuck to their roots pretty much. Like, they started off as traditional, and then a lot of these bands started switching up, going from deathcore to maybe new metal. Like, people hate Suicide Silence now because they just fucking suck. But this band has done it all pretty much, and I watched the evolution of this band because it's great. Like, they started off in 2005, right? And they just kept going from there. And what really got me into it was Die Without Hope. That was like, that song alone is really what introduced me to Carnifex, and I just kept going from there. So, yeah, Carnifex is a band that has evolved over time from traditional deathcore in a later years with albums like Slow Death and the one I'm reviewing today, to more black and death metal sounds, adding blast beats and different extreme hardcore elements to their music. So they still stick to their deathcore roots, but they just splash a little death metal in there and a little black metal and all that good shit. And these guys really are like fucking metalheads. They're really into this shit. Like, most deathcore bands, they don't really listen to like real extreme shit, but these guys, they have idols and they support them. You can catch these guys wearing a lot of black metal shirts, so I like that. Um, Carnifex has always had like dark lyrical themes ranging from like genocide, Satanism, depression, suicide, and most importantly, sadism. And if you look at the lyrics from the beginning until now, like, you can kind of like grasp the concept of like these guys as people. Like, you can't really tell. Like, I feel like these guys aren't Satanists, but I think they're agnostic atheists. Like, they don't necessarily disbelief in like a god, but they don't worship a god. They believe that there is a higher power, or they could be gods, and all of this shit. Like, it depends on how you interpret it though, but it's a little bit like of Satanism in their lyrics, and I don't think it's as deep as people may look into it, but I think there is Satanism there. But I feel like these guys are more agnostic atheists, which is, I mean, if you're just really into the artist, well, things like that may be kind of important to you. So, just a little something to say. Anyways, Carnifex are one of the few innovators of the scene. Like I said earlier, while some people stayed, these guys stick to their craft and so on and so forth. Okay, and also, like I said, one of the few deathcore bands that uses fucking blast beats. You rarely hear any, like, deathcore bands use blast beats. It's very rare. I don't think I know any other. I think Shadow of Intent does. I think they do too, but other than that, yeah. So, let's get into the album. So, after 3 long years since their last album, Slow Death, which came out in 2016, this band is known for its raw, consistent aggression, and now they return with their 7th studio album, World War X, the Roman numeral 10 X. So, track 1 starts off with the title World War X. It starts off with a chaotic war theme, pretty much being the opener for this album. It describes what you're in tune for, what you're getting ready to listen to. World War X is the perfect opener. It takes you through somebody's story. It tells you about the problems that we face today with war, chaos, darkness, the occult, everything pretty much. Just you have to die to become something else. It's like you have to find yourself, you have to sacrifice, and that's what World War X is. And it's a great opening track, and I mean, I'm pretty sure you already seen the video. It's pretty badass as well. So, sorry if I stumble over my words a little bit. It's just gonna be a little long. I just love to run through these fucking things, but bear with me here. So, that's track number 1. Track 4 was my favorite, Eyes of the Executioner. Now, with a title like that, you already know you in for a fucking surprise. So, Eyes in the Executioner starts off with this brutal melody. One of the brutal melodies I've heard, from these guys in they later years. I mean, most of the shit they do now is, still pretty fucking heavy. But, with this, you can really hear Scott's vocals, how's it evolved since Die Without Hope. Because his vocals were heavy back then as well, but I feel like in this album now it's more intense, it's more ferocity, it's more black metal influence in his voice. So definitely a step up from previous albums. They just keep getting better with time. Like some bands over time they get gradually worse, but these guys just find a way to do it better and just make it more entertaining. But anyways, in this track you can tell how much range Scott really has versus previous albums. The black metal influence in this track is very astonishing. The bass slams hard as fuck, making this one of my favorite tracks on the album. So look out for track number 4, Eyes on the Executioner. Now we go into track 6. So track 6, you see right here, All Roads Lead to Hell. So it has a really sick fucking breakdown from the start. As you get deeper into it, you can really see Carnifex are just pulling out all the stops pretty much. The lyrics stand out to me in particular. The fucking chorus. So I'm gonna read it because I wrote these lyrics down because it just really stood out to me. So, all roads lead to hell, but it only get worse. Before it gets better, every word's a lie, but I won't remember. All road leads to hell. I can see heaven's just out of reach. Only God forgives, but not me. So I really looked deep into that track and also had some notes that I had to write for that. So the main lyrical standpoint of that song was about like a nightmare leading them straight to hell. That's where I was talking earlier about like I don't think these guys disbelieve in heaven or hell, so they may be agnostic atheists. Um, so because thing is, most Satanists, Satanists don't believe in God. They really just believe in they believe they are a God, so they don't follow a higher power, which atheists disbelief in God. But atheists can also believe in something else, just not a Christian Lord. But it really just depends on how you view it. But you can be an agnostic atheist. You don't necessarily disbelief in God, but you don't follow religion. Like you believe that there is something, but you don't necessarily conform to a religion. And it's just like this. The main lyrical standpoint of this was like a fucking nightmare, leading them straight into eternal damnation. The darkness is described, and this is like you go to hell. You have visions of hell and eternal damnation and suffering that leads you to death. So that's what I got from this from track 6. And also Angel Vivalati, don't know who that is featured on that, and so on and so forth. And pretty much all the other tracks, I mean, they were good too, but it was really the first 4, 5, 6, 7 tracks or 6 that really just stood out to me. And No Light Shall Save Us featuring Alyssa White Gloves from Arch Enemy. So yeah, this album is everything. Now that I've gotten through my notes, even though I kind of fuck up stumbling my words, y'all know I'm used to doing that. Now it's time to really get into it. So my take on this album is a classic from Carnifex. Uh, Before I unwrapped it, it said, I think it said California's Death Metal Merchants. So I'm guessing the record label finally put these guys in a category that is befitting of them. I mean, they have earned this title of death metal heavyweights. I mean, I don't consider Carnifex to be a deathcore band anymore. To me, I mean, yes, it is still deathcore elements in this album, but to me, this is a modern day death metal album. I don't believe these guys are deathcore anymore. Definitely not traditional deathcore, but these guys are heavyweights, and I think they switched their sound once they after Die Without Hope. You go to Slow Death. I think that's when they sound completely changed, and I think it changed for the better, not the worse. I mean, old Carnifex will always be good too, but this right here, this is the future. World War X, album 7, has everything you look for. Dark imagery. You see this fucking like statue with the X and the fucking skull, and then you see what I would say are like demons. Yeah, demons on the outside, crawling out the pits of hell. This is fucking dark, and I love it. This is a beautiful album. Honestly, it took me a minute to get into it. At first listen, it's kind of hard to get into, especially if you're not like familiar with this band, or I don't know, or if you just not used to this like new sound. I mean, I liked it, but it was really hard. It was like one of those albums you gotta really process it to get into it. So you gotta listen to it more than once, which is good. But yeah, man, I'm glad these guys made it to Nuclear Blast. I think they were on another record label before this. I think 2 more. I know they were on. Give me a second. They were on another record label, but I can't remember what it is. I think they were on Roadrunner, maybe. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it, but I know they were on at least two more labels besides Nuclear Blast. But I'm glad Nuclear Blast signed these guys when they did, because these guys are the future, not just of deathcore, but these guys are the future of death metal. This is a band that will keep going to the top. Mainstream wise, I mean, yeah, Carnifex is a pretty big band. I don't know if they're like a band that would be like you could compare to like Cannibal Corpse and all these other bands success wise, but I think if they keep going and people just keep buying their records and they keep just selling the fuck out, just selling concerts out, doing what they do best, I feel like they can just skyrocket. But who knows? They may be okay with where they at now, you know. But anyways, sorry, I just got too into this. Like, I just get really into these reviews. Pick up World War X now, wherever local record stores, order it, whatever. Become a fan of Carnifex. If you're just now getting into this band, I recommend Die Without Hope or Hell Chose Me. And then, go to this. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review as much as I did, because this was probably a pretty long one. This was a long one, 16 minutes. So it just shows you how passionate I am about these fucking albums. And stay metal. Oh, hope y'all like my pentagram here. Knock somebody out. But anyways, yeah. Stay metal, stay evil, stay brutal, fuck bitches, get money, and I will see you all later.